All right, everybody. I am still a little buzzed from the Cush Derby that took place this Saturday. We had one of the most exciting miniature toy horse races I think I've ever seen. I mean, I think honestly, if we go down the long list of famous miniature toy horse derbies that exist on the first Saturday of May, I would say that that would probably be the most exciting in that very limited scope of miniature toy horse derbies. But boy, oh boy, was it exciting. We have a new winner. We have Bon Bon as the winner of the 2025 Cush Derby. I do not want those of you that came close to feel bad, to feel sad, to feel mad, to feel dad. I don't want you to feel any of those ads, all right? I want you guys to be proud of yourselves that you showed up. You almost won, and that is most important, that we almost win. And that is what we are brought here today to do, is to talk about cocktails that almost won. We are here for Drinker or Stinker. We're going to be doing a cocktail called Pathetic. Pathetic. It's the name of the cocktail. It's the Pathetic cocktail. We'll get into not the history of the cocktail, because frankly, I don't know. It only shows up in one book. But we will get into a little bit more history as we go. We'll talk about some interesting little bits and bobs about cocktailing, and you know, probably I'll go on some rant about something that I like or dislike. Basic structure of this show. So get your Campari ready. I know some of you are not Campari fans. Hopefully this will change your mind. If not, make something else. It's okay. You don't have to drink what we're drinking. We're just all just hanging out, doing the darn thing. Let's just get everybody facing the right way. There we go. That's how you win awards. Let me say hello to, Moose. Moose almost won the Cush Derby. He wakes up early. His horse just showed up late. Just a touch. He got out of the what do you call that? The paddock? I don't know what you call it. The starting barn door. He got out of that quickly. He was racing. And just at the last second, out of nowhere, came the Bon Bon horse and just overtook, barely won. But Moose was a great showing. We had an entire race dedicated to this guy, the Shawnee P like a racehorse. That was a fun little race. Shawnee P picked or helped everybody in that race, so we let Shawnee race in that one too. I don't think, John, did you? I don't think you were in the last one. I don't think you won that one though, unfortunately. That's crazy. Here is DC Debbie Clark, winner of the 2023 Cush Derby. She is a legacy winner at this point. Been coming around for a long time. Has not made it to the finals since that first year, but it doesn't matter. She made it that first year. Amy Beer is here. I think, Amy Beer, experiencing your first Cush Derby. We don't have to talk about that the whole time, but it's good to see you, Amy Beer. Amy Beer, I don't know if you can see it. Right here, this is my Pat O'Brien Hurricane. It is on camera. So in case you're ever wondering where it is, it's right there. I tried to find a place where you could really see it, but it's getting crowded back here, unfortunately. But it's back there. Thank you for that. And I have your other Hurricane glass underneath the bar. We will be using that here shortly. Let's see, who else we got in here? Kyle Tender, aloha to Cocktail Lulu, which means that I missed saying hello to Cocktail Lulu. Cocktail Lulu, good to see you. Always a pleasure. And an aloha to you, Dougie G, in the place to be. Good to see you, Dougie G. There's always, DC Debbie Clark, that's right. There's always next year. We need recipes in the descriptions again, otherwise it's difficult to drink along at home. That's correct. Yeah, that is true. And if you don't have the Peter Boorman book, then you will not be able to find this cocktail. I will tell you what you need for this cocktail in case you want to run to the store real quick. You need dry curacao, you need dry vermouth, and you need Campari. That is it. That is all we got. Let me tell you about this cocktail. As we are doing a cocktail show called Drinker or Stinker, I often go through cocktail books that look a lot like this. Bong. Things that just say Bartender's Guide. Often they brag about how many recipes are in here. 1,400 recipes. Holy jeez, look how many pictures they have in here. They categorize them all by the type of cocktail. This is by a guy named Peter Boorman. Well, I was traversing this book and I got to page 310. It was in the bitters section of the cocktail book. There we go. This is the cocktail we're making, in case anybody wants to know. That's what its cousin looks like. And I got to a cocktail and it said pathetic. Absolutely, probably not that one, this one. Pathetic. I didn't like that. I didn't like somebody being called pathetic. So I figured we would make that cocktail today to see whether it truly is pathetic. But before we did that, I figured I would go through exactly what pathetic means and where it came from, and possibly the fact that Peter Boorman might not have been calling this a spineless, a a spineless, a sort of, what's another word for pathetic? Whimpering, disgusting cockroach of a cocktail. Maybe that's not what he's saying. Maybe it's what he's saying. But sometimes words change meaning over time. Let me give you my favorite example of a word that changed meaning over time. The name Nimrod. You ever been called a Nimrod? Probably not. I don't know who's running around calling people Nimrods at this point, but Nimrod. Say somebody, what is this idiot, this Nimrod, this guy, this absolute buffoon doing his buffoonery, his Nimrodery. Well, the name Nimrod actually has kind of an interesting history. There was a man named Noah. You might know him. Built a boat. Built a big boat, lots of cubits. Threw a bunch of animals in there, sailed across the world. So basically Dawn Beach. Basically Dawn Beach in biblical times. That's who Noah was. Well, he had a couple sons, few sons. He had a son named Ham. You know, Ham, one of his sons. He had another son. Ham had a son from that line named Cush. I'm not the only person ever named Cush. There was a dude in the Bible named Cush. If you go to North Africa, there are the Cushtic Jews. They are a bunch of Jewish dudes that are from the line of Noah. They followed Ham. Anyway, Cush also had babies. And he had one of his babies, and one of his babies was named Nimrod. Not because Cush was trying to call his son some sort of stupid idiot. That's a tough thing to call your kid. I'm not even positive that you're allowed to call your kid stupid idiot. But he had a kid named Nimrod, and Nimrod ended up being a great hunter. Probably the greatest hunter in all the land. Old Nimrod did. And then flash forward about 2,000 years, probably a little less than 2,000 years, maybe 19. When was Noah around? I don't know. Flash forward a few thousand years, and a cartoon comes out, and it stars a bunny. And this bunny is fighting against this seasonal hunter named Elmer. This bunny named Bugs was being chased by Elmer, and in a fit of sarcasm, turned to Elmer and said, "Look at this guy. What is he, Nimrod?" And nobody knew who Nimrod was, because after Noah, a lot of people don't get to Ham. Almost nobody gets to Cush. And if nobody's getting to Cush, nobody's getting to Nimrod when we're learning about all this stuff. So anyway, basically, he was being sarcastic when he called Elmer Fudd Nimrod, but everybody just thought that sounded like a really fun thing to call an idiot. So they called him Nimrod. Anyway, we can see how a word can change just from almost nothing. So anyway, this word pathetic has a similar sort of situation. It comes from the Greek, pathetikos. Pathos, meaning feeling, and etikos, meaning something else. I don't know what, but pathos, meaning feeling. Pathetic, up until the 18th century, meant something that was to be felt. If you were pathetic, it meant that you had it was something that sort of brought out an energy in you, sort of brought out feelings in you. So to be called something was pathetic, Beethoven Beethoven's Eighth Sonata is called Sonata Pathetic, Pathetico or something. It's, you know, it's a German word, pathetic, because it was a really heartfelt sonata. Well, in the 18th century, 19th century, 1800s, basically, for some reason, some dude somewhere wrote this was a pathetic something that was happening, and the word just got a little switched. It really meant that they were trying to bring out some feeling. They were sort of relying on people being like having a bunch of feelings. They were sort of playing the feeling. Basically, like they're saying they were trying to like play your feelings like a little fiddle. And after that, to be pathetic just meant that you were a slimy little cockroach. Anyway, we're going to find out whether Peter Boorman meant the slimy cockroach way or the one that makes you feel. That is what we were doing on Drinker or Stinker. We are playing Patheticos or Pathetic. So get ready for that. Just real quick, if anybody doesn't have this book, or if you ever like come across this in a used bookstore, highly recommend. It's basically just 1,400 recipes. It gives almost no history behind them, so that bums me out. But 1,400 recipes, you can't beat it. If you can buy it for less than, I don't know, if you can buy it for less than $8, I think you're in a good spot. There we go. DCW Clark. Bugs was always a trendsetter. He certainly set trends. The more you know. That's right. The more you know. We got to get one of those rainbow graphics going. Let's get into it. It's a very simple cocktail. It's very bitter forward, lots of big flavors. There is the main ingredients that we are going to concentrate on is going to be the vermouth, which I believe then puts this cocktail into the Martinez category of cocktails. So why don't we start off with the bitters first. This is Campari, a delicious red Italian vermouth, not always what it is. Amy says otherwise about what? Oh, yes, Amy says otherwise because Amy does not like Campari. Is that right? Am I remembering that right? I forget what everybody likes and what everybody doesn't like. Rich Whippin doesn't like nutmeg. That's the one I remember. Oh, Amy Beard does not like pineapple. Those are the two. We're going to go ahead and put in equal parts of everything. So depending on how big you want this cocktail to be, you want just a baby little sipper, put in 1/4 ounce. But then everything else has got to be 1/4 ounce. But we're going to go ahead and put in 3/4 of an ounce of some Campari into this cocktail, the Pathetic cocktail. All right, we're going to reach down here then. We're going to sweeten this cocktail up. Remember, bitters, sweet, vermouth. That is going to give us a Martinez-style cocktail. So we're going to sweeten this one up with some dry curacao. Now, this does get confusing when we start talking about the categories of cocktails, because dry curacao is an orange liqueur, and an orange liqueur is usually an indicator of it being a daisy. That's a good flag to watch for. When you see that it is orange liqueur in there, you can usually say that's most likely a daisy. Not in this case. You got to look at everything else. You got to look at everything in total, in contexto, I believe. Don't be pathetic and stop reading. Be pathetic and listen and feel this cocktail out. Am I right? 3/4 of an ounce of some dry curacao. Doing great. Take the little hair off of here. I don't mean to blame anybody for this, but that is not one of my hairs. That is a long blonde hair. I don't know who is long and blonde and loves dry curacao. Okay. Because this is a Manhattan-style cocktail. Oh, there we go. We're going to be putting in some vermouth. Vermouth, of course, comes from the German Vermut, which means wormwood. A lot of vermouths are flavored with wormwood. They don't have to be flavored with wormwood. They're basically just a fortified wine. They end up being wine cocktails. This is the dry style. We often call this a French style. We're going to go ahead and put in, we're gonna go ahead and put in 3/4 of an ounce of a dry vermouth. I've never made this cocktail before. It seems an awful lot like a number of other great cocktails, like mainly the Old Pal, the Negroni, that kind of thing. But got a little bit of a twist. No booze, liquor. There's no liquor in here. There's liqueurs in here, so I guess that counts as booze. Not for me, but for other people. So it's kind of an interesting thing. I just want to see if there's a garnish. I didn't even prepare a garnish, so really hoping there isn't. We want to make drinker stinker drinks correctly. I have a bit of an orange here. Yes. Oh, no garnish. Thank you, Peter Borman. You have saved the day. So I guess that's it. This has no juice in it. That is a pretty good indication that we are going to stir this cocktail. So lots and lots of ice. Lots and lots of ice, my friends. Drop some ice on the ground if you can. That always helps. Just drop a little ice on the ground. That's for good luck. And then we're going to go ahead and grab a spoon. We're going to shove her in all the way to the bottom. And we're going to go there. There's something about the way the book was set up that didn't make me want to search it. I do like Campari. Oh, I see. Amy Beard disagrees about the book. Oh, I totally bought that book at the Goodwill, couldn't stand it, and donated it back. There you go. All right. It does set up in a kind of a weird way where it does it by what do you call it? Types of liquor. So there's like the tequila section. There's a couple of great books that a couple other books I like that do that, like the Playboy Bartender's Guide. This, just while I'm sitting, this isn't going to do anything. This right here, the first cocktail book I ever bought, and it was pre-owned by a guy named it was given to John by a guy named Harold. I don't know who any of these people are. 103. This is the first book I ever bought. This has taught me an awful lot about bartending. So if you are looking for another great cocktail book, that one. Yeah, this one's weird, Amy. I mean, listen, it's not the greatest book. I'm saying if you can buy it for $5, I say get it. But there's a lot of fun stuff in here, like the Chicago 1 and the Chicago 2. That's just 2 that I found right there. It has interesting things. It's particularly good for me, who does a segment. Let me just balance these out, otherwise these are going to be falling everywhere. Where it balances out. Sorry. It's particularly good for me, who does a cocktail show called Drink or Stinker, because there are some stinkers in there. We're going to go ahead and just give this a little stir. There we go. We're noticing all the little guys running through. That's what we want. We see that same piece of cube running through every time. That's how we know we're stirring right. Pretty good. All right, we have pre-frozen one of these. I know that in the book, in the Bartender's Guide on page 310, they have it served in this glass right there. That's right there, the one we're looking for. I don't like those glasses. I have one. I don't like it. So I'm not going to serve mine in that. So I'm going to serve mine in a Marie Antoinette glass, or an APC, an all-purpose coupe. We're going to call that a day. So we're going to throw this in here. See how we do. Again, it calls for no garnish. Peter Borman, in his book, does call for garnish on a number of cocktails, so the omission is not a mistake. Instead, it is an actual, it's a suggestion. No garnish. Don't put a garnish in here. All right, that's fine. I particularly, if I'm having a Negroni, I don't have Negronis often, but if I do have a Negroni, I do like a squeeze of orange on top. It's not what this is called. I could not find any other history of this cocktail. I have no idea if Peter Borman created this cocktail. I have no idea if this has been existing since the 19th century. So maybe it really was sort of that deal where, you know, maybe it really did mean that other type of pathetic. Or whether he thinks that this is just kind of a sweet baby, kind of a nerdy situation. Cocktail Lulu says, looks pretty. It does look pretty. Cush considers martini glasses pathetic. Paul Belmar, good to see you, buddy. That is true. I do consider these to be. Oh yeah, my thing's not up. Wow, good to see you, Paul. Yeah, I do consider martini glasses to look pathetic. Yeah. Before I have this, I'm taking a guess and say that this is going to be sweet. I think there's a lot of sweet going on here. Everything I put in here, except for the dry vermouth, is going to be sweet. So let's see how we did it. As with everything that puts Campari into it, Campari sort of takes away all ability to be a subtle situation. There's no way to have a subtle Campari drink. You kind of have to wait for the Campari wave to wash over you, especially if you're doing a 1-to-1-to-1. If it was me, if I was going to make this one again, I am not. I feel like I understand how this one works. If it was me and we're going to make it again, I would up the dry vermouth. Let's put a little dry vermouth in here. We're not going anywhere. We're going to double the dry vermouth. I feel like that's a good way to do this right here. We're just going to start off with a double dry verm. So that's going to be 2 ounces of dry vermouth to 1 ounce of Campari, 1 ounce of the the dry curacao. It ends up, every Campari cocktail tastes like Campari. It's like absinthe. If you throw too much absinthe in anything, it's going to taste like an absinthe cocktail. There are a few other cocktail ingredients like that. Some that I really like. Maraschino liqueur. You put too much maraschino liqueur into anything, it's going to taste like a maraschino liqueur. The Campari, yes, this Campari is the star of the show. How about no? Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah, too much Campari immediately just makes sip Campari. Just sip Campari. So Campari is fine by itself. I don't know why everybody keeps trying to shove it as a main ingredient into cocktails. It takes away all subtlety. That's better. That's better. I have this is Martini Rossi, which not the greatest vermouth of all time, but certainly not a bad vermouth. Possibly the reason that we even call martinis is because of this extra dry stuff. This is a little better. At least the Campari isn't just like knocking at your door at 4 a.m. Trying to sell you Girl Scout cookies. That's what this one feels like. I feel like I'm being awakened, and not for a bad reason, but certainly at an inappropriate time and an inappropriate amount. Because Girl Scout cookies got expensive. I think they're selling them for like $8 now in my neighborhood. It's too much. Cocktail's a bit too tart for me. Yeah, I think that tart maybe. I feel like possibly too bitter. I feel like whatever Campari makes you feel, I totally understand if it makes you feel tart. For me, it's the bitterness that really sort of hammers it home. That is what I'm getting. It's just too much Campari. Too much Campari. I think Campari would do well. Campari right now, for a lot of bartenders, is Pedro Pascal. For me, it's The Rock. All right? Both of them are in everything. For some reason, we have to make them the star of everything. Everything that you want to do, you got to put either Pedro Pascal or The Rock in it. Now, Pedro Pascal, I think he's a great actor. I would watch Pedro Pascal read the phone book. I think he's great in The Last of Us. I loved him on Game of Thrones. Basically, anything Pedro Pascal is doing, I'm probably going to watch. The Rock, I don't think I've seen a Rock movie since somebody dragged me to Fast and Furious 10. Having not seen the first 9 Fast and Furious, I went to see Fast 10. A lot of people would say you don't need to see the first ones. You do need to see the you need to at least understand a little bit of that story before you go into Fast 10. I'd never seen a Fast and Furious. Anyway, I got off topic. The Rock is kind of in everything, and I find it cloying. Campari is in a lot of things. A lot of bartenders just think it's like the great, the great ingredient because they really like Campari, so they throw Campari into everything. The moment I see Campari into a cocktail, I'm kind of out. If I see maraschino liqueur, that's my Pedro Pascal. I'm in. All right. Maraschino liqueur is not in everything. The comparison is not apt. Don't worry about apt comparisons on this show, guys. Just have your drink. Hi, Dr. Cush. What do you think about Jerry Thomas's Bartender's Guidebook? Yeah, listen. I think it's a really interesting tome of sort of days gone past. I own it. It's great. It's fine. Do I get recipes from it? No. The way that I use Jerry Thomas's book is I look in the Savoy. I'm looking for old cocktails, and then I cross-check those against Jerry Thomas's book because I'd like to see sort of how they change. Jerry Thomas was, for those of you who don't know, Jerry Thomas is, we call him the professor, the doctor. He was probably the very first true bartender. So he kind of started this all. He traveled. He was a bon vivant, traveled around, created drinks. So he wrote a book. He wrote a couple books. The Bartender's Guide is one of them. It's kind of like if you love mystery, you love like the mystery genre, and then you go and you read Edgar Allan Poe, right? And then you're reading Edgar Allan Poe, you're like, this guy's not original at all. I've seen this exact thing done 100 times. Until you realize that Edgar Allan Poe created all of those. If you like detective novels, Edgar Allan Poe created those. If you like horror novels, Edgar Allan Poe created that. If you like suspense, Edgar Allan Poe was there. This dude did everything. The problem with it is everybody's stolen from him so much that everyone's like, oh, Edgar Allan Poe's just stealing from everybody else. That's not the case. That's what you're going to find with Jerry Thomas is that you'll see that he is brilliant if you can understand that he was creating all that. He wasn't just like figuring it out. Anyway, so yeah, the Jerry Thomas Guide is fine if you're looking for a history book about cocktails. No better place to start than the Savoy. And one that I don't think gets enough credit is this one right here. There are lots of versions of it. There are ones that come out all the time. Is the Mr. Boston's book. They have a lot of fun cocktails in there. This was more of a pamphlet to sell booze, to sort of show people how to use different, the different Mr. Boston's products. But they put one out like every 10 years, and it's interesting to see like what shows up in Mr. Boston's and what doesn't. I would say the Savoy or Mr. Boston's before the Jerry Thomas Guide, unless you really just want to have that Jerry Thomas Guide, and then I think it's a great book. God, how long have I talked? Forever. Jeez Louise. Has it been forever? It's been forever. Okay. Don't waste your good vermouth. I'm gonna drink it. It won't go to waste. That is what I have for you guys for today. Tomorrow we will be back. I have gotten multiple people requesting that I do one thing, and that is to go over a new version of pseudo juice. So I think tomorrow we will do some pseudo juice. I think should we do that tomorrow or Saturday? We'll do it tomorrow. Let's do it tomorrow. It shouldn't take long. Pseudo juice takes very little time. I'll have a lot of it prepped beforehand, but we'll do pseudo juice, and we're gonna look for the next thing. We need a new book club read. Yes, the new book club read will be announced here soon. I'm working with the author to get that going. Oh, speaking of book club reads, I think this guy should join. This is my dad. My dad was also a comparative literature major in college. He did comparative literature and business, which is a good thing. I did comparative literature and theater. So basically the same thing. Basically, we met in the middle. My money making major was comparative literature. That's where I thought I'd make my money. Anyway, I don't know what we're talking about. Yeah, so we will do another book club. We know book clubs should be, we will take about a month to read the book club, but I'm talking with the author about days that they can do it and a month that they would be good, because I'd like to have the author come on and discuss the book. It's the next thing. Okay, that's what I got for you guys. We'll be back here tomorrow to make some pseudo juice. I will try and put those ingredients up as soon as possible, so that you guys can have those ready. Sorry about not having them up today. Completely forgot. Just forgot that that's what I need to do. Just made it in time, Roger G. I was going to write home to your mother and tell him that you were truant, but you did make it. So congratulations. You are no longer truant. You turned in your paper and you're ready to go. Okay. Until next time, guys. What do we always say? Things not working. What do we always say? Bye. And we say it just like that. We look each other deep in the eyes and we say, bye-bye.